Hey there, it's Dawn. Welcome back. Today I have some leftover paint from my string pull pour that I did. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to use that up on a new kind of pour. Now, sometimes you go to the thrift store and they'll have these grab bags of kitchen stuff. And I grabbed one that had metal measuring cups that I really wanted. And this was in it. And I'm like, what is that? And how can I use that? I think it's a juicer. I have no idea how it works. It's got this extra piece. But we don't need the extra piece. We're going to use this piece. It has an interesting pattern that is, let me grab my sink strainer. It's similar, but still different than a sink strainer. So I thought, well, why don't we give it a shot? Because, being a creative, I like to try new things. So I've got a 10 by 10 canvas that I've already covered with, well, mostly white paint. My brush, yeah. Everybody spreads their paint a little differently, and I use a paintbrush. And you can find these at Michael's in the impulse purchase aisle just before the checkout. But yeah, that goes really well. The bristles are a little bit thin here at the end, so they pull just the right amount of paint. I like it. I think that's going to be my go-to now instead of the comb or the drywall knife. Anyway, so the only thing about this is it's got these tabs. So I'm thinking, well, they're going to block the paint a little bit. So I think I'm going to put them kind of up and down. We'll see what happens, right? Okay, so the last couple of strainer pours I have done with pouring the paint individually. But today I want to just build a dirty cup and pour that through. So I've got my old Tim Hortons ice cap cup. It's a bigger cup than I'm probably going to need, but that's okay because we're just going to pour it anyway. So I got some neat colors here. This is deep violet, a very pretty purple. I do have some black here. I don't know that I want to use it though. So we'll set that off to the side. This is metallic cobalt blue. Another pretty color. I'll put the red next to it. We might get another shade of purple. This is crimson, a new crimson. It's got a funny name. I'm going to tell you what it is, but I have to pick up the bottle to read it. It is Alizarin Crimson Hue. So, and that's in Liquitex Basics. How about a little more white between these next two colors? How about some orange? This is metallic orange, which looked really great in the string pull pour I did. So I was happy to use that. I'm going to go back to this cobalt blue before I do the bright green. Actually, I'm going to put a little white in. So I'm just building a dirty pour cup. And we could have some really interesting designs. Oh, all my paints are kind of sinking today. Oh well. Who knows what kind of effect we're going to get then. I'm going to pour all the purple in. Why? Because I can. Because it's experimentation time, and that's what we do. We just do what feels right. We'll call it intuitive painting today. That's a nice way of saying we don't know how this is going to work out, but we're willing to try. That needs a little more white. If it turns to mud, that would be sad. But you know what? It's okay. You know what? I could have been more careful and actually layered the paint. But I didn't. Too late now. No backsies. We shall go forth and do this however it's going to work out. Put some black. I want to put black on the top. I don't know if I want to put black on the top. I'm just thinking it would be too dark, especially if it mixed with some of the lighter colors. Black and bright green, yeah, that's doesn't sound like a recipe for beauty, does it? So that's the end of the white, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of the orange on top. I've used up most of these paints. I've got a layer down, so even if I didn't have quite enough paint in here, although I'm pretty sure I've got 2/3 of a cup in here, so it should be more than plenty to do in here. So let's just go for it, right? You never know. It's kind of like a split bottle bottom pour slash strainer pour, because we've got the juicer part acts kind of like bottle bottom, although it might not make any difference to the end result at all. But I just thought, as I'm pouring this, that kind of reminds me of a bottle bottom pour. I've only done a couple of those, and I've never done one on camera, so. I'm sure if you've been following acrylic pour painting of any sort, you'll know what that is. I can just see the paint starting to come out from under. The thing. The juicer. Oh my gosh. Don't get old. It affects your brain in a big way. I know my words, people. I just can't always find them. And sometimes it's kind of hard to concentrate on painting and talk to you at the same time. That's not your fault. That's on me. There are some pretty cool colors in there. All right. Obviously, my table is not quite level because paint's going the other way. So, oh, paint's still draining. I'm just going to lift that a wee little bit. Oh yeah, we had more than enough paint, I'm sure. All right, well. One, two, three. There we go. Yeah. Well, you know what? If we can stretch this out, there might be some really cool stuff in this. So let's just, I don't like the middle though. Okay. So anyway, let's just play with this a little bit. It's not going to be a nice balanced flower in the middle unless I really work the paint, because there's more of it at the top than there is down here. But let's stretch it out. See what we come up with. Stretch it that way. Okay. Orange and green together make mud. So yeah. Oh goodness. My cups underneath were stuck to each other. And oh, there's one stuck here too. All right. Making a big drippy mess, but it's what we do. So let's go this way a little bit. And then back. Run up some of this ugliness over here. Yeah, I shouldn't talk about my paint that way, because sometimes just like, what was I thinking? go? Just go, 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 go. And back. Let's see where. There were some pretty colors in there. We just had to coax them out. Yeah, let's go that way. Yeah, I'm just letting the paint roll. Let her go. Back. Let's go this way. And stretch. They're right out over here. Go, 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 go. Yeah, there we go. Now this may not look like a strainer pour at all by the time I'm done because I am really stretching the paint. There was a lot there to stretch. But I'm liking the way the light is offering contrast. So you know what? Let's just go with it. Okay, I think I'm gonna move it this way just so I can stretch the stuff near my hands a bit more. Because I think it's pretty. That middle part where the green and the orange have mixed. It's kind of ugly. So let's just run it off. Why? Because we can. I like how this is shaping up now. We didn't run enough of that off, but that's okay. Let's coax it to go that way. I can't see what I'm doing, so it's almost gone. Now, move these stripes down. I just want them to come down to this corner so I can move them back and stretch them out even a little bit more. If you have a lot of paint on your canvas, you can play like this. So losing, I mean, I've lost a lot of paint, but there's still so much going on in the painting. Great. Okay, so it doesn't look anything like a strainer pour, but I shouldn't say that. Look at all the colors that showed up when we stretched it, because there's so many little slots. Unlike the sink strainer. I mean, the sink strainer gives a nice flower effect, but there's like twice as many slots. So this was a juicer pour, and oh, I should probably hit that with the torch just for a sec. Just, you know, because bubbles. And, oh, we didn't use any silicone, but we have Floetrol, and there are lots of little bubbles coming up. Little cells. So yeah. So that's my first attempt at a juicer pour. I just used leftover paints. And I'm looking, there's some really pretty colors still in there, but we don't need to, I don't think we need to do anything more to this painting. So I'm going to let it sit for a couple minutes, and then I will come back and show you a close-up. Here we are back with your close-up. I let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then it's like, oh, I didn't like this spot over here, so I just ran it off. So we have a little bit of negative space up in the corner. But because of all the slots in the juicer, we have a lot of tight banding of color. So even though we didn't end up like with a flower-shaped pour, which we might have had I used a bigger canvas, but I used a small 10 by 10 canvas, and because of the muddying of the green and orange together, I ran a lot of it off. But now it kind of looks a little bit geode-like. With a lot of interest and a lot of pretty colors showing through. So there is your your juicer strainer pour. A little bit different, but that's okay. It's great to be creative and inventive and find new uses for things. So there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate that you took some time to spend with me and my art. Now before you go, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out a couple other videos. There's quite a few here. Thanks again for watching. You have a super day. Bye for now.